I think we've long been this movement for gender equality and diversity as a whole. Today, we want to be the world's most inclusive, iconic community. And our goal is for people to feel like this is an inclusive community with exclusive opportunities.
World of Women is a decentralized global network of individuals with a gender equality-focused mission. Essentially, a community built on the back of a gorgeous collection of digital artwork NFTs. In July 2021, World of Women launched with a bang, surpassing $1 million in primary sales. Less than 1 year later, in 2023, the World of Women Galaxy collection eclipsed its launch revenue by generating $80 million in 1 day. And of course, this is just the primary sales figures. Today, the community is comprised of over 20,000 individuals across North America, Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. And it boasts an A-list lineup of celebrity community members, including Reese Witherspoon, Madonna, Steve Aoki, Gary Vee, and Gwyneth Paltrow. In this episode of Some Future Day, World of Women's founder, Raphael Malavieille, and I cover several important topics, including the United Nations report on gender equality, the role of major corporations in NFT communities, the future of NFTs and digital artwork, why World of Women has strategically partnered with key blockchain entities such as Ledger and the Sandbox, and beyond. It's a great story, it's a great company, it's a great entity, and I thank Raphael so much for his time, his insight, and his compelling story. Enjoy. Hi, Raph. How are you? Thank you for joining Some Future Day.
Hey, hi, Mark. I'm great. And you? Hope you're doing good too.
I'm very excited to speak with you. I know you're joining us from Lisbon, Portugal today, which is an interesting place, particularly for the Web3 and crypto community. How long have you been living in Lisbon now?
It's been 2 years now, actually. We moved in 2021, a bit after launching the company and the brand. And it's been 2 really great years on a lot of aspects, professionally speaking, but also the life here is good. That's why people come here, to be honest.
So it's interesting. You know, in my opinion, World of Women was really, or is really, one of the first collections of NFTs that is so much more than just digital artwork. You know, I think an interesting place to start today is with regards to World of Women's mission. Can you talk a little bit about how you established this mission surrounding inclusivity, gender equality?
I'm pretty happy to say that, the vision that my wife, Yam, she's the artist of the collection, and I have, has always been about building an inclusive future. And it always started through representation. That was the only really, I think, idea when this first came to mind for Yam. It was all about representation, and how she doesn't feel represented by this market of what we call PFP collectibles in NFTs in early 2021. And she felt like if she doesn't feel represented while she's there, she doesn't feel welcome. And if she wants to have the chance that the Web3 space welcomes more women, they have to have a place where they feel represented and they feel like they belong, actually. And that was really the reason behind World of Women. And then further down the line, I learned, I think, talking to a big brand that does doll, I won't say their name, this quote that you can't be what you can see. I don't know from who it is, but it's a very famous quote. And I thought it resonated a lot with me. Of course, as a man, I don't relate myself, but I understood a bit what it would feel for a woman.
So for the audience, for those who don't know, I feel like everyone knows, but Yam is your wife, but she also is an artist and the founder. Do you want to talk a little bit more about her? And I'm curious, like, where she's from. Where did she grow up?
Yeah, so we met 7 years ago. Yam and I, we've been together ever since. Very, 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 very close. Her and I. We actually, when we started World of Women, we used to live in Tenerife at the time, actually, on a little island, just her and I on the side of the mountain of the volcano. That was great. And it turns out she grew up between Europe and the Middle East. And and that's where she started her life. And then we met in Paris, actually.
So was the gender equality issue for her specifically relating to those early days with regards to NFTs and PFPs, or did she have something bigger in her career or her life that, really sparked that type of motivation to develop this platform of inclusivity?
This was really a very natural transition from what she was doing before. Before World of Women, she was drawing women. She never drew any men. She always draws only women. And her first collection of NFTs, actually, that are single edition pieces by her, is called Women by Yam, Females in the Spotlight. Now they are pretty vintage. The first one was minted, I think, April 7th. It's now in Cosmo de Medici's collection, and then he transmitted it to the LACMA in Los Angeles, actually. So one of our pieces in the LACMA, which is pretty mind-blowing still to this day. So yeah, she was doing this at her scale with her group of friends doing single edition digital art. But I think it was also a cohabitation with me and me being interested in this space on sometimes a more technical or more investment aspect as well, that she saw like, hey, there's bored apes, there's cool cats, there are craniums, there are bulls on the blocks, those whole collection, there's dead heads. And none of them make me feel like as a woman, I'm represented in there. And that's how it went from, okay, the attention is on those. How can I translate, or can I translate my single edition art into something that's more at scale? And I will get more eyes on, and that will make she didn't even know she had a mission of supporting women. She was just drawing women because that's what she cared about. But at this stage, I think it clicked, and we moved on trying World of Women.
So it's pretty remarkable. I think next week is the second anniversary of World of Women, right?
Yeah. We launched 27th of July, 2021. It's a very remarkable date for us. And it's going to be an opportunity for us to gather community members around the world. We're having, I believe, almost 10 meetups globally organized by team or community members in different cities. We're very global. And we hope to be able as well to be showcasing a bit more of the future of WoW and where we're going.
So I noticed that. I think it's really impressive when you talk about this 10-city event and then the community at large. Like, how many people are now part of World of Women? And I guess the question to you is also, do you have to be an owner or a holder of a piece of artwork to be part of the community? Like, how do you define the World of Women community? How many people do you really see in it? And then when you activate to celebrate next week, which cities are you going to be activating in around the globe? It's a pretty amazing reach that you've built.
Yeah, that is true. And I think we would define the community as to anyone that supports the mission and that supports the brand, even if they don't own an NFT that sometimes are very valuable and expensive assets, to be honest. We have a lot of artists, I think roughly 400 artists that we've supported throughout 2 years, either by buying their art, placing bids on their art, being literally just sponsors of their work, or by inviting them to collaborate with us. So we've done, I believe, 10 editions of ArtFest, where we have 8 to 15 artists that join and collab with us. I think those artists, even if they don't own a World of Women NFT or a World of Women Galaxy NFT, they are part of this community, really. And as for the meetups, it is very global, actually. I believe we have Toronto, Paris, London, Lisbon, New York, likely Miami as well. And we have in Southeast Asia. I'm sure we have Mumbai as well in India. And I don't remember the last one, but it is very global. The community has been. It used to be very, we have stats. It used to be very US-centric. Yeah. New York, Miami, Los Angeles. But then the balance with Europe and Southeast Asia has been really strong. Middle East as well is growing. I think Dubai is kind of a hub. And that's something really fantastic, I agree. And the team actually mirrors the community quite well in this regard. Our team is very East Coast, US, Europe, India, and Middle East. That's really a global team.
Well, it's interesting because what you're proving to do is leverage the decentralized technology, but you're also creating this decentralized network across the globe where you can actually be impactful to enhance gender equality in these different regions because of, almost like this army of World of Women that you're developing through this network of holders of your artwork. You could communicate with them, they could organize together, and maybe even have impact not just on a local, regional scale, but worldwide too.
Yeah, our role, and we are just at the beginning of it, is facilitating the interactions between our members, facilitating the interaction between our members and the brands we can collaborate with. I mean, recently we had MasterCard, we had FC Barcelona, we have a new one with Diageo recently, where we had artists from our community that we branched with those brands with unique opportunities. And that's what we want to do. We want to be facilitators and enable people. So we are building a platform, a product that will make this easier than the current state that's very early stage. I would say that's very for crypto aficionado, between Twitter and Discord, not very user-friendly. And we think we can really facilitate this and act as a global network that would compete on the main stage, not only for the audience of NFT addicts or arts collectors or crypto or investors. But I think we can compete with any traditional networks that offers lifestyle or career advancement or professional empowerment. That's where we want to be.
That's really interesting and powerful, because you take this decentralized global network and you could function in an organized way. So, like, what is World of Women? Is World of Women selling artwork? Is it selling culture? Are you selling a movement towards gender equality? Are you selling community, inclusion? What is it that World of Women is actually selling from a commercial perspective?
I think we've long been this movement for gender equality and diversity as a whole, like you said. Today, we want to be the world's most inclusive, iconic community. And what does that mean? We really are talking about a membership ecosystem, really a membership, you could say a network as a service almost, if we talk about commercial terms. And our goal is for people to feel like this is an inclusive community with exclusive opportunities, really. So today we have most people buy World of Women either as a piece of art or as something they see as a speculative asset. Let's be completely honest, just like they buy a lot of NFTs or coins out there. Tomorrow we want people to buy a World of Women NFT as a membership pass, as a membership token, access to a network for peer-to-peer learning, peer-to-peer networking, access to services that we would offer, local events, global events, and professional or personal opportunities. People are looking for career advantage. They are looking for career empowerment. And we think based on leveraging the technology that Web3 and NFTs and blockchain provide, we have a very, very strong competitive advantage with what's on the market today, actually. And people will soon see it, and we'll have people join us that have no idea about NFT, or even, I would dare say, that they don't even like NFTs, or they might hate NFT, and they might join the ecosystem and then realize, oh, it turns out like my pass is a piece of art by this woman, Yam. Who's Yam? She's a great artist, and it's super cool. And now I love NFT, and I'm going to get interested in that. We hope to achieve this goal.
So that's an interesting phrase you used, network as a service. I haven't heard that before. Is there another entity, whether it's in Web3 or not, that you can analogize the concept of network as a service?
Yeah, so this is a fun one, and I want to give credit where it's due on this. I think I first read it on the platform of Philly, which is a mastermind group, I believe, for entrepreneurs and women mostly, that connect women entrepreneurs with funding and do some cohorts with mastermind sessions. I think that was the first time I saw it. If you Google network as a service today, this mostly refers to infrastructure, to LAN and this kind of stuff. So it's not really valid. But if you look at, the world of traditional networks today, maybe something like YPO, like Vistage, like CEN, like EO, G100, those are all very traditional old school networks. But they only cater to executives usually or to high-level entrepreneurs. And those people have already made it. By definition, those networks are not inclusive, they are exclusive. And the value that people get from is this exclusivity and this access to those close circle of people. And sometimes they claim to be inclusive, to have X% of diverse people, of BIPOC or of women. But fundamentally, they can't be, because it's about curating and vetting who can get in. We believe that the curation can be done organically through the value that the brand and the token and the artwork represent. And only people that would believe in those values would want to actually join the network. And I think from my experience being in a lot of meetups and a lot of events and meeting a lot of the community members, we are achieving this challenge of having curated people without curating ourselves.
So if I could say it differently, because I think it's interesting also that you're breaking down now core values. So World of Women is a global network that provides members with access to exclusive products, exclusive get-togethers, exclusive services, unique experiences, all together sharing core values of inclusivity to drive gender equality.
It's exactly that. I think it's moving your life and your career forward without abandoning your ethos on the side. You can be mission driven, and you don't have to step on other people to make it. And this is join this network that also thinks like that. And another aspect that I think makes it compelling and makes even the business case compelling and doable is that if you look at the competition that I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure you didn't know most of it, or maybe you knew a bit, but those brands are not attractive to the global audience. They are not known. They have no visual identity. They can't be marketed. You can't do merchandising or commerce from those brands. World of Women is literally a visual, colorful brand by the best-selling women artists, graphic artists out there. So we have an opportunity to make the brand very known, have a lot of brand awareness and notoriety that will then put the eye on the network itself. And so I believe the demand for what we are building is going to be enormous, and will vastly outreach the demand for the traditional.
Yeah, I'll compliment you. Like the artwork that has followed the initial collection from Yam, from your wife, has really been compelling. In fact, right here in New York City on Fifth Avenue, MasterCard's HQ has a huge flag flying over Fifth Avenue that incorporates, I believe it's one of your artists' artwork. And I see it every morning because I happen to live in that neighborhood. I believe
you have to send me a picture because I didn't know of that. And usually I know those things, but I would love that.
Raph,
I would love that. But
yeah, send me at some point. Send me your, if you don't mind, send me your mobile, and I'll text it to you today.
I will.
It's incredible.
We also had the artwork on Billboard, with awesome. With Maria, Madonna, and Christina Aguilera last year. That was really exciting.
The concept of this global network that brings together people that share core values is very interesting to me, because we've been living in the centralized world. For example, like if you're in Twitter, it's so generalized. There's so much negativity. You're in there, and probably a majority of the people that you're functioning with don't share the same mission or core values. But for you, you're saying you could be part of the rest of the world. We don't care. But if you share these core values and our mission, you love our artwork, and you want access to these unique experiences and services, and you want to push forward to move gender equality and inclusivity into like the right lane, come along with us. Isn't that really more powerful than like a generalized movement where now on a global scale, this network can galvanize and be impactful?
Yeah, I think so, really. And we know from the beginning, a lot of the NFT culture has been powered by social signaling and statutory signaling. People are proud, just like they are proud to have a piece of art to showcase something that they bought early or that they still hold today. And I believe World of Women is an extremely strong case of something you want to to social signal out there. And that's also one of the reasons people put a premium or an ultra premium on top of the token, in addition to the value and the services we're looking to offer to people owning one.
So I know it's still early on. Again, you're not even up to your second anniversary. But I was thinking about like how you can galvanize that community. And as you're aware, gender equality is a fundamental human right. And it provides a foundation, really, if you think about it, for like a more peaceful, a more prosperous, and sustainable world, right? I think that's like a fair thought. And I was doing some research, and I looked at some data. There's something called the Women, Peace, and Security Index. It's co-published by Georgetown University and Oslo Peace Research Institute, which measures women's rights through levels of inclusion in society, representation in the justice system, and feelings of security at home, in the community, et cetera. And then the United Nations has something called the Gender Inequality Index, which touches on similar points of data, education, political representation for women, et cetera. In 2022, just recently, less than a half a year ago, an entity called Concern Worldwide used both data sets to create a list of the worst countries for women's rights in the world. There were 10 of them, and they included, in order from the 10th worst to the worst in the world: Pakistan, Central Africa Republic, Somalia, Sierra Leone, Sudan, Chad, Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan. Syria is the second worst, and then Afghanistan is the worst now. Afghanistan is by far the worst. And in fact, Afghanistan ranked almost at the bottom for both indexes. And they rank there because they have a terrible level of financial inclusion. It said, the report that I read is incredible. 35 out of 100 women are exposed to violence from their intimate partners in Afghanistan, according to this report. And for those women that are allowed to go to school, because most are not now, the average amount of time that they spend in school is only 2 years, Raph, just 2 years in Afghanistan. So I'm wondering, as you evolve, you galvanize this network of people that share the core values of World of Women, that share your mission to reach gender equality. Do you ever consider, and again, I realize it's very early on the process, but do you ever consider how you could actually impact the entire world and get to places like Afghanistan and Syria and Pakistan, where through technology, you can help empower these women, provide them with education, provide them with security, provide them with financial autonomy? Are these things that you're thinking about at all?
Yeah, very, very, very definitely. One of the first donations we made, actually, even before we launched the project, we had promised to donate, I think, $45,000 to them, was to a company called, an NGO called Too Young to Wed, that operates mostly in Kenya, notably in Kenya. It's run by Stephanie Sinclair, who's an award-winning photographer, and it's all about protecting young girls from child marriage. And so thanks to the donation, actually, we created a shepherd school. They created a shepherd school for those girls in Kenya, so that, because education, as you said, is the number one protection for girls to avoid child marriage. So, and it was, I always remember how moving it was for us to do this and to receive the feedback that this had made an impact on some people's life. So Kenya is not in the list, but this was a pretty sad story. And I think something we'd like to do, because you mentioned decentralization a lot, and we are by default a centralized company that is running here and trying to connect people, as you said, to make an impact. One thing we'd love to do is to be this umbrella brand under which initiatives and projects and small companies will grow and be funded by their peers, decided the funding from their peers to actually make an impact on the situation on gender equality throughout the world. That's what we would love to do. I wouldn't say an incubator, but you get the idea.
So it's interesting because in my circles, I end up sometimes, very often, honestly, in conversations or conferences with people from all over the world. And I find that sometimes digitally, I'll be in a conversation, even with men that live in, communist regimes, where they look at Web3 as a way to embrace freedom. I remember this in I'd say 2020, I was on a Binance panel discussion, and one of these developers, very smart young guy from China, said, to me, Web3 provides freedom. It allows for me to create what I'd like to create, be paid when and how I want to be paid, and I also have access to content that I couldn't get otherwise because of the restrictions within his territory. And I wonder, if World of Women can evolve with technology that can provide in a decentralized way. For example, what do you think about the idea of you have a collection of artwork that unlocks access to, education that maybe women in one of these areas, Afghanistan, couldn't access, but for the fact that she has that NFT, right? And it gives them lessons and tools to, whether it helps them with regards to violence, or it gives them rules or guidelines on how to create an international business that could allow them to get paid, without the traditional banking system. And I know these are all concepts that are lofty in mind, but you can really do it. It's pretty incredible. Are these ideas that you would embrace?
You're right. I think we have a responsibility of making the opportunity that is Web3 aware, known to everybody that anybody that wouldn't. Because what I talked about, even though inclusive, this idea of you own NFTs and then you're part of a system and a network where you have services and an offering from being part of it, it's still gonna only touch people that are reached by the current system. So I agree, we have a responsibility to try and find ways to touch 80% of the population really that doesn't have access to these current ideas. They don't even know that this is a world that exists and that there are those opportunities. We really want to do something in this direction. I think this will come in a second time after the offering is clarified and clear for the current target audience, I would say. And then we want to make it available and clearer for less educated people on the matter, really.
It would be amazing if you were able to move from awareness into action at that level. I remember early in the NFT art movement, there were tremendous artists coming from Iran. And here in New York, we had no idea that they had that kind of a culture, or I shouldn't say culture, but that kind of a community, really young community of artists that were able to embrace this technology and take advantage of it. Did you happen to see any of that early on in like 2020, 2021? It was pretty cool.
I arrived actually pretty late, I would say. I arrived at the Beeple craze myself. February 2021, a bit before the Beeple sales at Christie. This is when I landed.
Yeah.
And I saw indeed a lot of women, notably through Yam's network, that were in no ability to actually sell their work to traditional galleries or collectors in their traditional life. And so NFTs as an opportunity to find people that would pay for what they were doing. And they would absolutely never be able to find those people that would be willing to pay for their work in their traditional environment. So this already unlocked, NFTs already unlocked this potential for those women and artists.
So, World of Women is interesting also because early on you were able to take advantage of building momentum through celebrity. Most people know the story about Reese Witherspoon, and I want to break that down a little bit more. But beyond that, you had celebrities collect Ava Longoria, Shonda Rhimes, Gwyneth Paltrow. I believe Madonna was a big advocate and even performed for you at some point. Have you been able to develop formal relationships other than Reese Witherspoon with any of these celebrities? And if so, like, what's the nature of them now?
I mean, it depends how you define formal. I would say first and foremost, we have huge gratitude to them because all of those things happened organically, and this never happens to anybody, any company. It's extremely rare to have so much organic support from those people. They ask you nothing in return. So I think clearly we owe them a lot for all this matter, really. And we've met some of them. It's pretty crazy, to be honest, for very normal people that we are. And I would say the person that one of them that's been very helpful and supportive has been Eva Longoria. Really, I've seen her engage with Yam repeatedly. I've seen her on panels, on chats, on Visio with Yam. She might come to our podcast soon. Yeah, we have really. She's been really, really great and it's been amazing to be supported by someone like her, really.
Do you connect with any of them, maybe including Reese too, to help push this mission of gender equality and inclusivity forward?
Yeah, definitely. We did, we have, and we keep doing it. It's more behind the scene, I would say today. It's not, as you know, it's also challenging for those people, the people that are the most exposed and the most public, they are the most at risk with talking about Web3 or talking about NFTs today. Because it's really an easy topic, as you would know, to attack people on. So I would say they have to be more careful, and this is totally normal. And we are here to actually be faces of this, and push it forward, but they definitely help.
You think after the SEC came down on like Kim Kardashian and all, it had a chilling effect on some of your community?
Oh, I don't know the exact timing of this, but necessarily, I think if I was in their shoes, I would be very careful for sure.
The Reese Witherspoon story, like, I know you've told this story a lot, but it's so poignant. It's such a beautiful story about you and Yam and the way you found out and then the way that impacted your lives. Like, do you mind taking a minute just to talk about that again?
Yeah, I didn't know you knew about it actually. So I wonder where this story has been told. It's actually a pretty simple story. I think I remember we were in an hotel room in Chania in Crete at the time. We love living on islands. We always try to live on the islands and all.
Me too.
Yeah, well, I get it.
I need to hang out with you and Yam.
Definitely. And it was really just a DM, on Twitter. Yam got a DM and she was a bit shocked, obviously. And hey, love what you do. How can I support, basically? And it grew from there. That was pretty incredible and obviously surreal. I think he wasn't the first one. Some people like Gary Vaynerchuk had supported and reached out, and it was already pretty weird. And but yeah, Reese made us enter in this A-list Hollywood celebrity world that we didn't expect to reach to.
So she collects, right? I think she has 2 World of Women NFTs.
I believe so. I haven't kept track recently, but I believe so, yeah.
So you mentioned Gary V. I thought that story was interesting too. I heard that you were always very active, really like running the Discord rooms and all. And then all of a sudden, Gary V., who's been such a great advocate for NFTs, popped into your room. How did that relationship evolve?
Yeah, this is the best story, really. Yeah, he popped out the first night after one community member, again, decentralization, empowering the community. One early buyer of World of Women, believer, her name is Becky. And I always refer to Becky. I have her tweet. Gary was like, hey, I'm looking for people to support tonight. Very oddly, it was the same night we minted. And she went like, hey, you should support World of Women. Those guys are doxed, which means they are public faces, which was very rare at the time. Yam and myself were public. We weren't hidden co-founders. So we had a lot to lose, actually, by doing so. And so he vetted the project in a minute or two. Then he came to Discord, say, hey, hi, what should I do? Is it good here? People said, yeah, sure, you should. And then he got back to Twitter and he said, hey, I'm buying, And then it got crazy. It was the middle of the night. So, the story happened that it sold out. And the relationship after that was just for the first 2 weeks, him being very supportive and also giving his own opinion. It's never financial advice coming from him. He just says, I like this. That doesn't mean you should buy it, but I like this. And since then, he's just been supportive through VCon, through our gala last year. He always tried to support. If he sees brand that should be a match with us, he will. His company and him will make sure to forward. So really, really appreciative of what this gentleman has done for us, really.
Raph, the other story that I think is really cool is the Guy Oseary story, Madonna's manager. Is that how you were introduced to Madonna?
Yeah, definitely. That's an easy shortcut to make. Guy and Gary, I think, operate in similar spheres. And I think on stage once at VCon, they were calling each other the president and the boss of the NFT space or whatnot. We met Guy actually, I think in November 2021. And the relationship started to form then. And for him, it was really about supporting one of the watershed moment, as he calls them, of NFTs. He was seeing CryptoPunk, he was seeing Bored Ape, People, and World of Women. And we love this vision. We were impressed by his resume, as would anyone. And so we've been working together ever since.
So is he your manager now? Is he World of Women's manager?
Yeah, I think it's hard. It's weird to say manager in the realm of a company, actually. So I would more say an advisor, really, to what
I see.
Always
Does he help you secure these deals? You mentioned Diageo and MasterCard. Is he the one that's spearheading those relationships, doing the outreach and structuring the financial terms of those deals on your behalf?
Guy is a door opener. He's not going to structure the financial deals. At least that's not how we operate. He's going to open the doors that we need, that we feel like, hey, there's an opportunity for us. If he sees an opportunity, he's going to also do the matchmaking. And then it's our operating team that's going to actually do the rest. And for several of the recent ones, actually, FC Barcelona or MasterCard or even Diageo, it came from our natural brand equity that we had built over time. And I'm really proud about our brand equity actually being such a young company that we can attract the biggest brands and groups in the world to work with us. So
the FC Barcelona collection, I think it's, first of all, beautiful. It's called the Masterpiece Collection. Is that right?
So it is actually not a collection in this sense, but go ahead. Yeah, it's called Masterpiece, yeah.
Yeah, so it's amazing that you were able to organize a partnership with FC Barcelona. I know a lot of people in the audience would take offense by this, but it's arguably the best football club on the planet, right?
I think so. I'm not a football player nor fan myself, but I know so, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting because you're tapping into a community that might not necessarily embrace artwork, right? It might be like a sports type of person. But in this instance, again, that connecting intersection is gender equality, inclusivity. And then I noticed this another pillar where if you're a collector of this artwork, for example, the Masterpiece Collection, it unlocks certain benefits. So how did the relationship come together with Barcelona?
It's actually from, again, because of our brand equity, they reached out through their agency. They were looking to support and to honor Alexia Putellas, 2 times golden ball and basically the best women in the world playing football. And last year, or I think it was a year ago, they did the first masterpiece. So as you said, it's a series. And the first masterpiece was about another legend of Barca, Johan Cruyff. And they wanted the second one to be a woman, and who better than Alexia Putellas? And then, since it would be a digital collectible and a piece of art, what better community and brand to reach out to than World of Women? That's really the thought process of a lot of those companies. And as it happened, I mean, Yam has done the collection World of Women as we know it. She should rule all those women. But we love, and what we want to is bring the opportunities to the community, really. And what happened is our team, Diana, to be precise, curated the artist, looked into within the community what artists would be the best fit for what FC Barcelona was doing. And we acted as a curator and as a matchmaker here. Plus, and that's what we did, really. So the artist is Rie, and it sold for an incredible amount, especially in this market. And I think we made a good impact on Rie's life, and I'm super happy and grateful for that.
How much did it sell for?
160 something East, probably $300,000.
And that was just recently, right?
That was a month ago. Yeah, that was a month ago. So it's a 3D piece that also comes with a meeting with Alexia. It comes with a seat painted by an artist from Camp Nou, the official stadium of FC Barcelona. So it comes also with an experience behind it, as well as being this memorabilia that nobody else can get.
So it really lines up with the way that you set up your model, right? It gives you access to beautiful artwork, unique experiences. It pushes the mission forward. It's pretty incredible. But the price point, like, let's not just like fly through that. Like, we're in a marketplace for NFTs right now that's a little slow, right? All things considered, but you're still demanding, north of $250,000 for one piece of artwork. Why do you think that's Why do you think that exists? Is that special for World of Women?
This was an auction. So the price point was created by the demand in the end. And I think Barca is such an iconic collection that if they know the right buyer was found, I would say. But the fact that the provenance of the art was curated by World of Women, I think gave a lot of premium as well to the piece itself. Because provenance is everything, where we come from, where we are. It will be in 10 years even more. So people realize that when they buy pieces for such expensive cost.
I agree. So you've created like these really interesting relationships in the community too. Like, I came into your world, frankly, through a mutual friend, a third party, and they were like really, really elated about how nice you are, how nice the community is, how genuine you are. And I see that, I would only imagine that a lot of these relationships in Web3 have been created also because of that general sentiment about you and your wife, the other founders, and the community at large. So, for example, you've built this foundation. I guess before I go too deep, I want to talk to you about the relationship with Sandbox, because it's really remarkable. But before we even get into Sandbox, why don't you explain to the audience, what the mission is of the foundation, what the pillars are, and how that stands up as a separate entity?
Yeah, so the foundation has been something that we set up a year and a half ago, really, with the goal actually to do what I mentioned before. The goal of the foundation is to put Web3 and World of Women on the map for people and women specifically that would have never a chance to discover that. So that's really the goal of the foundation, bringing people from zero knowledge of this possibility to, hey, there's an opportunity, I might want to jump into it. And we've been lucky to work with Sandbox to set it up, co-founding it. and trying to run it alongside the main core World Women entity. And the membership we talk about has been a real challenge. I'm not gonna lie. This is challenging. This is hard, but this is also a necessity.
So Sandbox put $25 million into the foundation to kick it off?
So 5 across 5 years, actually. That's the 5 across 5, 5x5, basically, yeah.
And then how are those monies deployed? What are they being invested in specifically?
Well, we've been very actually prudent and cautious, I would say, the first year growing the team. And it's been, I would say, a mix of education, philanthropic, also activation. So subcontracting basically the good to people that already know how to do it, and working on a program we call Let's Mint, which was all about educating girls pretty manually, actually, before we do it at scale, and then teaching them about minting their first NFTs, how it works, why it makes sense, why they could be interested in that.
It's really impressive. I guess that's where our worlds also collided. After my initial meeting with some of your team at NFT NYC, you were really generous, and I really do appreciate it. I can't thank you enough to help support some of my students in my class at New York University, at NYU. They created a DAO called Tech Girl. And I appreciate the fact that it's a new relationship. We're kicking it off now, but they're very enthusiastic. They're young. They're all girls, with the exception of one student. And their mission is to also support the next generation of women through technology. So thank you for that.
That's an obvious match. Why wouldn't we? So that's so cool.
It's incredible. They're so enthusiastic about it. Like, I can't even tell you. They're dying to get going with you guys. So thank you for that. What about the relationship with Ledger? I see through the foundation you created a formal relationship with Ledger to, again, another key player in the Web3 community. Can you talk a little bit about, it's called The Quest, I believe?
Yeah, Ledger are this big major player in the industry. They are so important. And I mean, it happens to be a French company as well. And so I'm French. We have relationships when we see each other at events. So we have a really good relationship going, and they're all about education. Really, I think they're probably amongst the best to do the education actually right now in the space. And this Quest system is all about that, education and onboarding through a fun yet serious model. Really, that's rewarded through a proof of knowledge, a POK, NFT that you receive once you've proven that you understand the security, how to secure your assets, what's the blockchain, and a lot of different questions that were pretty key. And so we were happy to try also and help and contribute in protecting our own community. See, you could win if you pass the quest, basically you would get a Ledger, a World of Women or World of Women Galaxy.
Beautiful.
And that's an activation we had, I think, in January. And always happy to collaborate with Ledger. They're the best.
It's really important. I'm sure you saw Ledger came out, came against a little heat a few months ago with regards to privacy and access to data. But don't you think that as take the World of Women's community, for example, I think that it's fair to think that there are some like real pure, decentralized crypto mindsets that, really wouldn't want their data accessed and are very concerned about their privacy. But then there's probably a lot of people within your community that like the convenience and the storage safety element of Ledger and wouldn't care so much about the issue that Ledger the firestorm really from the community that Ledger came about. Like, what do you think as it relates to the World of Women's the community? Like, do you think that generally speaking, they would find what Ledger stated offensive or not acceptable?
I didn't follow the story in detail, but I understand this was an option that you could activate, and they might have needed to be more clear about, hey, if you activate it, you understand that your key will be accessible by other people. So I think that was the problem. I have zero doubt about their intention being always positive and always about safety, though. As for what you mentioned, of course, the future is not made of wallets where you hold your private key under your bed. That everybody says that. That's obvious. So a mix of custodial and non-custodial has to be found. I mean, even for me still today, it can be, I'm sometimes terrified if there is too much assets within a non-custodial wallet, because I don't trust myself as much as I trust the third party sometimes, let's be honest. And so this whole idea...
have you lost any
that
wallets?
Custodial is everything. I don't think I have yet, but probably it would be too late if I. It's going to be too late if it happens. I've been scammed before, but I don't think I've lost a wallet yet.
Good.
Yeah.
The other part of the community that also is like best in class that I see you aligned with as far as collaborations go is Yuga Labs. And you developed some sort of a partnership surrounding Yuga Labs' other side. Has that activated yet?
Actually, it's we're working on Legend of the Mara with Yuga. So Legend of the Mara is I would say a side game, a side activation while they are building the big other side game. And it's mostly a card game. I understand that will be coming pretty soon. They announced it, I think, 3 weeks ago. And we're really happy to be one of the core partners and the core community that will be able to engage in this game with them. Yuga is the titan from the space. They are the number one success stories. And I've met personally the founders. And I'm a big fan myself, really. And I respect a lot not only the ideas, and okay, they are a bit crazy, they do crazy stuff very far from our brand image, but I love that they are dedicated, that they are extremely focused, and that they are extremely good in the way they operate as well. And I recognize that. I'm really a big fan of what Yuga does.
So it's my understanding that for World of Women, if you purchase an NFT, that comes with full ownership of all intellectual property rights?
Yep. Of the artwork itself, yes. Of the artwork, but not of its name. Just the artwork, yeah. So you don't own any rights toward the WoW name, but you own the right to the artwork. So you can use the artwork any way you want.
So for example, you put together a cool collaboration with House of Harlow in the fashion front. Was that done by you, like the ownership of World of Women, or the founders of World of Women, or was that created by an individual that held some IP?
Well, it's a very good question. We are still at the stage where the brands will first look at World of Women as a company to license and to work with, because they want to work with the brand WoW as well, and not only with the artwork. But we have a responsibility to incentivize and educate the brand to actually go towards the holders themselves and to work with them themselves, which is often, I think, more authentic and gets better received by the community. We had a good example quite recently by Hennessy, a brand from LVMH, and they went to a Bored Ape, a second Bored Ape, and a World of Women holders, and they did a whole campaign and ads with those and with the IP that they each own from their NFT, and I really loved this. And going forward, it's something we try to do more and try to do systematically. When we are approached by a brand, we will reach out to our community to say, hey, do you want to be part of this activation? Do you want to license your WoW or your World of Women Galaxy to us to be part of this activation? One small example I have is literally about the Legend of the Mara from Yuga. They released 2 or 3 illustrations, and they were all featuring a World of Women that was licensed for this activation by a community member too.
So what's the benefit then to like the community at large, if an individual owner can license their piece of artwork? Like there's no restriction, right? They could decide if they want to align with any type of entity that might not share the core values of World of Women. They can, right? They could go into any category, any business classification, correct? There are no limitations.
There are limitations. If you read and there are logical limitations. If you read the IP transfer agreement contract, which has been written under French law, and French law is the more protective law about the intellectual property for the artist. We call it droit d'auteur in French. So it's very protective of the artist's intellectual rights, basically, and the moral rights. And in Yam and World of Women being the artist there, we have reserved the right that there would be no homophobic, no sexist, no racist, no Nazism linked to the brand. Otherwise, we could shut it down and we could remove the right from the people. But that's really linked to, as an artist, you can denature the meaning of the work, really. And I think that will be enough to protect World of Women as a whole, to see really mean and really not necessary usage of the art out there.
Has there been an instance yet, Raphael, where you had to step in and stop a holder?
Not at all. Not at all. I don't think that will happen, to be honest. I think, you have to trust people.
Well, it seems like there's also like the shared
the
core values where, there's like I really think it's the most authentic community in the entire culture. Like everybody really seems to, it's almost like people are the same. Like, well, even the men that I've met that work within your company also have like this genuineness to them. So I don't see why anybody would want to hurt WoW. Right?
You met Yari, I guess. Yari is great.
Yeah.
Yari is an example. He was a community member before he joined us in August last year to work with us. Yeah. And we found him in the community. He was so genuine and he was really matching and vibing with what we wanted to do. I agree. Nobody wants to hurt us. Let's hope that's true. I like that. And the fact that we granted this IP out there and we really did it in an authentic way. It's not even a license to use it. We gave away the rights. We can't use them ourselves. The artwork, if we don't own them, we don't have the rights technically to use them. And I think because you use that, if we incentivize people properly, if we educate people properly in the community, those, I think, little pods that pop using the brand, using the artwork and the visual identity of the work will make the brand stronger and the brand more notorious, I would say.
So this seems very contradictory or counterintuitive to the traditional concept of an entity protecting their intellectual property. Disney would never do something like this with Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. So philosophically, maybe this is the future, but philosophically, do you see benefit as like the creator of WoW when you have, now probably over 20,000 individuals, I would say, right, that can go ahead and license these different pieces of art? Like, what's the benefit to the property, to the WoW property, if all of these people are creating anything from, a car to a cool fashion collection to a great spirit to a hotel maybe someday? How does it benefit the creator of the intellectual property?
There is a lot of risk to it. Let's be honest. There is a lot of risk to it. As you said, maybe a holder will do something amazing in an area where us as a company we wanted to do. So that's the risk that we have. And we have roughly 13.5 thousand people that hold one today that are part of this ecosystem. I would say the benefits is also is walking the walk, and saying like, hey, this is really about community and about ownership of a digital asset. You can tell people you own this digital asset, but we still own everything and we can do everything we want with it, in my opinion, unless it's art, purely for art, but we went the way where we went above just the art, really. We talked about a membership ecosystem. So I think it's a bet on humans' nature and the power of network. And the fact that if someone really truly owns the piece, the NFT and the asset, they will be more emotionally attached to the brand, and they will want the brand to succeed more, which is also beneficial for us and for everybody in the community.
So do you think it's like a modern way of jumpstarting a brand and a culture where all of a sudden, because you have like an army of advocates that own the IP and they could structure their own deals, do you feel like that's a better business model than the old way of doing this?
Time will tell if we can beat Disney on this, but time will tell. Really, I still think that we own those assets. This World of Women logo that I think is one of our best assets. It's beautiful, and brands still want to work with us because of the brand World of Women and our name. And I think, we will have more reach and more brand notoriety because of individual holders' initiatives.
I read some mixed stories. Like early on, after you created some significant revenue from the first collection, and then again last year with World of Women Galaxy, which I read did roughly 80 million in primary and secondary sales in just 24 hours, primary and secondary sales.
Yeah.
That you committed to the community of giving back a certain percentage. Some reports that I read were around 2.5%. Some went as high as 15%. But like, do you generate revenue from creating these collections and then reinvest so that you could build brand equity?
Yeah, it's all about reinvesting for sure. That being said, we don't do how we would say a cash back to community members. That's not how it works. For the first collection, the rules was really clear. 15% of all sales would be allocated in a fund to actually buy crypto art and support crypto artists, which was Yam's community. And our goal was really to bridge those community, bring some of the monetary influx that were in collectibles to traditional art. So that was the first collection. The first collection, I believe it was 10% of it was actually allocated to the foundation. That's how we co-founded the foundation with Sandbox. We also brought some money to the foundation from All Women Galaxy that would be dedicated to the causes we mentioned before. Really, yeah.
What I like to do with my guests is play with the title of the show a little bit, Raph. So Some Future Day, the brand Some Future Day, or the title, was created. It was inspired by James Joyce, the writer. And I want to line something up and then have you finish the statement. Okay. So you mentioned, for example, here's a cool one. I'm really excited that you have Yam's artwork is in LACMA now. I think that's really important. I struggle, I'm sure you do too. Like, there are so many people that just don't understand this is a simple formula. It's a different medium. It's just like, we know there's one Mona Lisa in the Louvre, and this is just this generation and forward. It's a different medium. So I get like hit with that all the time. I don't understand. Why does the chain create value? I'm sure you get that more than I do even. But in some future day, museums will be
digital as well as physical.
In some future day, NFTs or digital artwork will provide women with
even more emancipation that they have today, and true financial, I would say, independency.
Raph, in some future day, digital artwork and NFTs will replace. Can't make them.
I don't think they will. They will not replace anything. I don't think they will replace. If you're talking about digital artworks and NFTs, I don't think they're replacing something. They are filling a hole probably, but I don't think they're replacing something. I mean, NFTs might replace a lot of paperwork. Yeah, that is true.
Why do you think people have such a hard time grasping the concept of like accepting digital artwork as important to our generation as, the traditional, Caravaggio was hundreds of years ago? Like, what's the problem? Like, Caravaggio used tools, right? Canvas and paint. And, we're using different tools as it relates to, bits and computers and blockchains. Like, why do people struggle with that?
I think the main reason is might be a bit about us. I mean, I'm talking about the collections like World of Women or like Bored Apes or like those collections that kind of made to the general public the idea that NFTs were not art, but they were speculative assets, or they were really weird stuff for speculators. I think this is with the reputation it has been of just think NFTs, digital art for art, has been there's been a problem because of that, I believe. Yeah, the reputation is not good. Also because of coins, I would say, shit coins, all this kind of stuff makes it like at a glance that's what you see from the outside. So why would you go on Tezos and buy an art piece for $20 to support an artist? Which is a good use case of actually NFTs. Just you see a beautiful artist doing beautiful GIFs or pixel art, you should want to go and support them for $50. But right now you don't even think about it because NFT is just weird apes. That's an issue, I think.
So how does the industry get over that issue? There's this, like, I think, bad perception that you're talking about, which isn't realistic. So, right now, like, there's really cool stuff. I don't know if you're following glitch art at all.
No, not so much.
Yeah, there's this whole glitch art movement that's super compelling. I think maybe it strikes a chord with me because a lot of it reminds me of like the 80s when I was a kid and all. But like, how do we get over the hurdle? Like, this is real art. You don't have to think of it as, just this moment in time where it's a Bored Ape. But there's real value to it. I mean, your artwork is in LACMA right now. Rafiq Anadol has artwork that's in MoMA. So clearly, the legacy art community is embracing it. But how do we get it for people at the mass level to understand, like, this is really valuable, very important art?
I think we stopped talking about NFTs. We just develop product, services, and ecosystem and industry that are leveraging the technology. But we stopped mentioning everything that the asset himself as an NFT, and And that will take 5 to 10 years, but and then we'll see. Hey, this is an art piece from me. You can buy it, and we won't say it's an NFT piece from me. It's just an art piece, and that will be natural from people. Just like people don't say, hey, this is my painting. It's on a wooden canvas. No, it's just a painting, and we won't talk about the medium as much as it is today. Anyway, the name now is ruined. NFT in a lot of people's mind. It always has a negative association. So it has to be removed, and we have to hide the wires. Those wires have to be hidden.
Raph, do you see any young artists or emerging talent that is on your radar that you think will have great success in the blockchain space in the next few months or years?
I have to share with you an artist we worked with and that I met in Cannes months ago, Kelly Llanos. She's great. She's been doing a live NFT on stage, actually, with MasterCard, with the CMO and CFO on MasterCard. NFT is amazing. It's called Priceless, and I have one now because I was there. And I think she's just super talented, and I hope this will help her kickstart even more her career as an illustrator and as an artist, because it's not easy, especially right now. So Kelly Llanos, she's amazing.
That's great. Raph, is there anything that we missed today that you'd like to cover or talk about?
I don't think so. I was thoroughly impressed with the amount we covered, actually, and I didn't expect to cover all those different topics. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Marc.
I know your time is very important, so thank you so much for joining me today. For ongoing insights surrounding these important topics, you can join the conversation on my social media channels, including Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Marc Beckman. And to sign up for my newsletter on Substack, you can find me at marcbeckman.substack.com. To make sure you don't miss a show, be sure to subscribe to Some Future Day across all major platforms worldwide, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Special thanks to New York University for producing Some Future Day, and a big shout out to my producer extraordinaire, John Boomhofer, for being patient and always encouraging me to push through. Thanks a lot, John. Have a great day.